RaceRoom's latest ranked racing update is an absolute game changer. And in this video, I'm going to explain why the new ranked racing system is so good, especially for people that are currently fans of Le Mans Ultimate or people that just want to do some really good jump-in online racing and just have fun sim racing. I'm also going to let you know what's not so good about it, what you need to be aware of, and of course how you can get into it for as cheap as possible. If you haven't, you now have the opportunity to subscribe so you can then unsubscribe when I dare to say something bad about your favourite video game toy. Clicking the like button will make your kettle boil 3% faster. And look at all these sad, depressed people that support this channel financially each month. Patreon, YouTube memberships, Twitch memberships. Dear God, they're not getting into the bunker when World War III starts, that's for sure. Rightio, it's been 1 week since the ranked racing dropped for RaceRoom, and since then there's already been some quite significant changes. Before I go into those changes, I want to explain why this is so good for your general sim racer, but also, as I said at the beginning, fans of simulators like Le Mans Ultimate, or people that just want to have a good sim racing race without having to apply too much thought to it. So, at the moment, Le Mans Ultimate is kind of like your Assetto Corsa Competizione replacement. It's for your GT3 hypercar tryhards, people that are probably doing quite a bit of practice and really just want to drive the exact same track and the exact same cars over and over again in maybe longer races. It's quite nice. I love Le Mans Ultimate. It works great. Their online system's fantastic. It's active. You can have a great time, but let's be honest, it's also a little bit of a mega sweat fest. And let's be a little bit honest, it doesn't have the biggest range of cars and tracks and is a little bit dull if you've been playing it a lot over the last 6 or so months. And this is where RaceRoom's new ranked racing, I think, slots in really nicely and really complementary to simulators like Le Mans Ultimate, in that I would still play Le Mans Ultimate. I think it's great for what it does, but sometimes you just want to jump in and do something a little bit different from a GT3 car, hypercar, LMP2 and what have you. You know, you might want to drive a Formula car, you might want to drive an MX-5, you might want to drive a car with the engine in the boot and the boot sticking up. You might be tired of Sebring, Spa and Monza, you know, and RaceRoom offers that variability and also, I think, a lot more welcoming, jump-in, less sweaty racing. Obviously, you can still do sweaty racing in RaceRoom and you can take the ranking very seriously, you know, that's up to you. But fundamentally, you don't have to approach it like that in order to have a really fun time. And with RaceRoom, the driving mechanics, the force feedback, the nature of it, the netcode and everything do make it even more accommodating and easier to drive than even Le Mans Ultimate. Though I actually think LMU is quite forgiving and easy to drive, but RaceRoom is even easier. So I think that's actually fantastic for getting people into online racing and having fun racing. So I guess really RaceRoom's actually a terrible simulator because it's not too expensive, it's forgiving, it's enjoyable, and it generally works. Where's the suffering and the financial loss? What is the point? So aside from those Le Mans Ultimate players that I think would really welcome a bit of variability and something a bit more casual, you also have RaceRoom fitting in really nicely for just sim racers that don't have that much free time and want to do a jump-in race. And with the recent changes to the multiplayer rank system, there's basically a race that you can join every 15 or so minutes. And now you can qualify for a race and it remembers your time outside of that race. So you don't have to wait around ages, you don't have to do the full quali session before each race. You're basically done and ready and you can go from race to race in a ranking system and just have a really great time. I think a lot of younger sim racers especially forget that a lot of people in sim racing are actually old miserable gits that don't have that much free time, didn't use contraception properly and now have children, so you know they just basically can't do the hobby they want to do. And when you're in that situation, you really need games where it's like, oh, I've got 20 minutes, I've got 30 minutes at best, what can I bloody jump into and enjoy right now? What will deliver right this second? No planning, no forethought. What can I jump into? And previously with sim racing, it's basically, let's say you can do the jump in GT3 and LMU, but then it was just iRacing, and even within iRacing it would be doing Formula Ford and MX5. And they're great options. I've got 3,000 hours in iRacing over the last 2 years. I think it's great. But iRacing you have to pay quite a lot of money for, and as I say, LMU, it's getting a bit stale with what's in there. It's still great if you're sweating it, but you know what I mean. Whereas with RaceRoom, it's like, right, I've got 15 minutes, got 20 minutes, great, jump in, do a race. Oh, I've got another 10 minutes spare, I didn't think. Well, I'll do the next race then. You know, and then you can just come out of it when you're done, and then if you've got another bit of spare time, you can jump back into it again. So it's a lot less demanding on you planning around it. You can get a really good jumping experience. Part of what really helps this, and what they've changed recently, is the qualifying system, where you don't have to qualify for every single session now, and the qualifying is actually separate to the race session completely. So once you've done your quali, you're sorted, and that's meant that RaceRoom can now rotate from race to race a lot quicker. The individual sessions don't have to be as long as they were before. Again, just allowing you to have more races, and for it not to be such a large commitment as a player with each race. You go from 15-minute race to 15-minute race to 15-minute race, each race being a different car and different track, and then it kind of cycles around. So if you're going to sit down in an evening and do like a 1 hour game session or 1.5 hour game session, you'll then be able to go through all the series in that evening for that week's races, which I think is really nice. If you want to just do one thing, you could do and wait around an extra 20-30 minutes, but if you just want to have a great time racing and playing racing games, jump in and start driving and doing races. You really can't go wrong. Now, the big issue that they did have with RaceRoom was that it was bloody confusing what you needed to buy in order to do the online racing, and really quite expensive if you were going to buy all the simulators content. So people were like, oh, what do I buy? I just can't be bothered. I'm not getting into RaceRoom. But now, as of a day or so ago, they are now offering a multiplayer pack that's like €30, and you buy that and you're going to have all the cars and tracks that are going to be running in the multiplayer for the foreseeable future. So €30, I think it's for like 27 tracks and 12 cars or something. You're sorted. You're done. You buy that, you're done. Absolutely superb. It's what we've been asking for. It's what I've been screaming at RaceRoom to do for ages, this sort of thing, and I can't believe they've bloody gone and done it. Someone at RaceRoom is definitely drinking high quality tea. Now, we can't be entirely positive with anything, because that would just not be this channel. I want to see some tears, and I do want to lose some subscribers at least every video. There's got to be a bit of a culling going on. The negatives with RaceRoom, at the moment, if you're in North America, which is sort of your 2 to 5 AM British time, the servers do basically die down. There are actually people on it. I've seen 12, 13 people in the TCR and some of the other stuff at those stupid times in the morning. But yeah, if you're in North America, it's still not got enough players really for that to work properly with the rank system. If you're in Europe though, I noticed at weekends from 11 AM till midnight, you've got at least 2 or 3 splits with multiple series. Absolutely fantastic, and it's picked up massively since they've done this multiplayer pack and since they've done this update to the ranked racing, so that's really good to see. But yeah, the numbers on this at the moment are not as high as iRacing, obviously, Bonk, or Le Mans Ultimate. If you go on Le Mans Ultimate at any time of day now, you will basically have in the GT3 rookie races, there will always be minimum at least 40 people. This drops, as I say, at the lowest is minimum like 10 people, and then at its highs, I think the most I've seen in this is about 300-400 people, whereas LMU in its highs is like 1,500, 2,000. iRacing in its highs is like 3,000 up plus, you know. So still got room to go in terms of player numbers, but for Europeans, absolutely fine. North Americans, sorry, you need to drag some more people, you know, into the simulators. It's your fault. It's not ours. It's not our fault that you're too busy going around Tesco's roundabout in reverse instead of doing proper track racing. Another thing that's really annoying with RaceRoom is that the default user interface, which is totally passable, is a little bit lame. And in order to change it, you're going to need to use a custom user interface. I'll put a link to ReHUD in the description. But if you use that, it'll look the same as how when we're live streaming, you have all the ranking positions, leaderboards, everything. You can customize it fully. It's just a little bit of a pain in the arse to set up, though. You don't have to use it, but you know, it should be the kind of thing that's just built into the sim. And I'd also say the driving standards in this game are probably some of the most all over the place from any online ranked system. The netcode and the tyre and the handling and stuff makes it really quite forgiving and not so bad when people do drive into you. But you really notice the range of skills in this title are quite broad. And that's particularly noticeable when you're doing like vintage cars, DTM or things like the NSU. It catches out a lot of the drivers in this simulator. It's weird because if you qualify in the top 5 or 6, you'll probably have an absolutely fantastic race, and I've had really good side-by-side racing. But if you qualify at the back, you'll notice some incredibly dodgy driving that you're then going to have to get good at avoiding. It's nowhere near as frustrating as the bad driving in iRacing, as I say, because the damage, the tyre model, the physics, the way it all works, means that it sort of absorbs the bad driving, but there is some horrendous driving in this, so get used to driving with a bloody nose. This isn't namby-pamby racing, this is full-on UFC race driving at times. It's not quite Wreckfest, but it is very much 90s BTCC, get your elbows out, hardcore aggressive driving at times. Though I would definitely say, you know, if you haven't got 2, 3, 5 wing mirrors embedded into your door, have you really been racing? You know, so in some ways it's a great feature. So yeah, all in all, it has been a game-changing update that happened recently, not just the rank racing, but the way they've tweaked it. And I think RaceRoom's absolutely fantastic. Really fits into a nice little niche that's very complimentary for a lot of sim racers and a wide range of sim racers. You need to get in there. As I say, the new pack they've got is like €30. I'll put a link to that in the description. And that's all you need to do the online racing. Link to ReHUD as well if you want to change the UI. And there you go. I'd love to see 3 teapots if you got to the end of this video. But I'd also really like to see you drink more tea, because we've always got to drink more tea. Thanks for watching this. Till the next one, take care, happy tea drinking, and goodbye. Game changed.